Today we're talking GenCon reveals, including Privateer Press's Warmachine Mk IV. Plus, Lord of the Rings is coming to Dungeons & Dragons, and Games Workshop, as always, has some new miniatures for us to look at. All this and more in this week's Hobby News. I'm Angela, you're watching Hobby Night, now let's get to it. Privateer Press has officially announced Warmachine Mk IV, the 4th edition of their skirmish wargame. I played this a while ago, like a really long while ago, back in my college days, and dropped out of it, so I'm actually very excited to see a new edition arriving on the scene. The beta rules are currently out and available for you to try. If you want to check that out, I've left a link in the video description to Privateer Press's website where you can download those, as well as some of the new cards for some of the new models that are going to be coming out. Now, speaking of those new models coming out, at GenCon this year, we got a reveal of several of them, and if you were there or happened to find the window when they were available online, you might have even gotten your hands on some of them. There were 3 specific factions that were available, specific battle groups, as they call them, and we're going to start with the Khorne Winter Corps. Now, this is the one that was only available online exclusively. They did not have the pieces available to have it physically there at GenCon, but they look really, really cool. Personally, this is the one that I would have wanted. There was also the Singar Storm Legion, which looked like your sort of generic good guys in my opinion. They look pretty cool, but I like the 3rd option even more. It is the Orgoth Sea Raiders, which I think are a return to an original faction from the 1st edition of the game. These guys look really cool. They've got some chaosy vibes, and I am digging that fully. And these ones you could have actually picked up at GenCon. Now, these models are not going to be available in this 3-man set, but they will become available once the new edition is out in the starter set, with the exception of the Warcaster. The Warcaster that comes in the set will be available, but they will be sold separately, which is a little bit of a shame. I do like seeing those sort of fancier characters come in starter sets. However, I get it. You may not want to include them and put other things in that starter set that's more viable for somebody who's getting started in the game. I thought one of the interesting notes in the article that I was reading about this reveal is the fact that Privateer Press has decided to go fully 3D printed for all of their models for this new edition of Warmachine. I don't know what that is specifically going to mean for their future plans for possibly selling STLs of the miniatures. Have no idea if that's actually going to be a thing, but it's an interesting possibility for them in the future. At GenCon, Free League Publishing announced that they're bringing the Lord of the Rings role-playing game to 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons. I think this is going to be very cool. Now, the Lord of the Rings game is an adaptation of the original The One Ring RPG, which was originally published by Gale Force 9, but it's now...
Which is derived from Dungeons & Dragons, which is in itself derived from Chainmail, which is based on the Lord of the Rings novels. My God, it's all a circle!
Oh my goodness. It really is. It's all very much a circle, and we have 2 new books that have been revealed. We are going to have the core rule book, so you can get started playing in Middle-earth in Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, called the Lord of the Rings Role-Playing 5th edition. Very basic, very easy to identify. It's going to have the 6 original heroic cultures in it. It's going to have 6 new classes, a lot of different adversaries for you to go up against, and it's going to have rules for going on journeys, forming councils, and more. Now, one of the things I'm the most interested in about this particular RPG being adapted into a 5th edition rule set is the fact that in Middle-earth, in Lord of the Rings, magic's really subtle. It's not flamboyant, it really doesn't it's not as evident, right? But in Dungeons & Dragons, in the normal core rulebook and everything, in the normal core setting, magic is a big deal. It's all over the place. It's very bold and exuberant. And I'm very interested to see how that is going to be adapted into the 5th edition setting for Lord of the Rings, because I don't think people are going to want something that is just pure D&D magic. I think they're going to want it to feel more like Middle-earth. So it's going to be very intriguing. This is going to be coming out for pre-order later this year and will be releasing in full in 2023. It's that time of the video where I interrupt to tell you about my Patreon and to let you know that we just added a Discord server which all tiers get access to. So if you're wanting a way to chat with me, share with me your projects, or just tell me what board games you're playing, definitely make sure to check the link below and check out my Patreon. Last but not least, for our GenCon news, I want to talk very briefly about the ENnie Awards, because the few times that I've gone to GenCon, I went to the ENnie Awards and I really like them. And you might be going, Angela, I have no idea what the ENnie Awards are. Don't worry, I'm going to explain it. It is the People's Choice Award for role-playing games. You get to vote on it online every year, and I want to talk about some of the winners this year because they're games that really excite me. First and foremost, the big winner of the year was Thirsty Sword Lesbians, which won the Gold Award for Best Game. This is a game published by Evil Hat Productions and is using the Powered by the Apocalypse rule set. It has a slight adaptation to it, but it's still within that family of games. And it is an RPG about flirting, sword fighting, and full of zingers. If you like romance, if you want to have a queer adventure, honestly, this game is probably for you. And I just have to say, when this first released, because it's not brand new this year or anything, it's been out for a couple of years now. However, when it first released and I worked at Games of Berkeley, I had such a hard time keeping this particular RPG on our shelves, and I was buying pretty large quantities of it, so I think it's pretty good. I've not actually played it myself, but I love the artwork. I've read through the rules a little bit, and it's a very intriguing little game. I would highly recommend checking it out. Now, some of the other winners this year happen to be focused on Dungeons & Dragons, which we had just talked about. Specifically, starting with the fact that Best Adventure, the gold winner was Uncaged Goddess, which is a D&D adventure focusing on unleashing your inner goddess, or on goddesses in the world of D&D. And I actually think that's a really intriguing setting. I had not known about this, but I looked it up afterwards. I love the art. It's definitely one that I'm going to be looking into a little bit more. On top of that, Critical Role got a few awards this year as well, including Darrington Press for Fan Favorite Publisher, and the Tal'Dorei Reborn won Best Campaign. Congratulations to all the winners this year, and I hope to be at the awards next year when I go to GenCon. Next, we're going to move over into the world of Warhammer 40k because we have some chaos miniatures to talk about. Let's start with our brand new Khorne Berserkers because He's lovely. I like him. I think the sculpt is pretty good. It definitely has that quintessential Khorne feel, although I will admit I kind of miss the derp teeth on the helmet of the old sculpt. There's just something about some of those old designs that Games Workshop had where they had this derp charming like quality to them that I think over time has been a little bit lost as we get more and more serious and more true grimdark. And I would love to see a little bit of that comedy and flavor return to the models. Now, speaking of our Khorne boys, we also got some Horus Heresy reveals and we get to look at what the World Eaters are getting. We of course got to see their shoulder pads, which look really cool, and I constantly forget that their original color scheme was a white, blue, and gold, making them look like the biggest goody two-shoes, and very in contrast to their current red design. We also got to take a look at some of the new helmets that are coming for those Horus Heresy models, and frankly, I love the just grinning, open-mouthed, unhelmeted version of the model because he just looks so happy to come and wreck your face, and I just think it's perfect. Now, we also got a reveal of another Emperor's Children model, another Praetor, and this one is in Terminator armor. Now, he is quite lovely, but much like his brethren, which we saw last week, I'm still not super thrilled. Other than the eagle iconography and the color scheme, nothing about this model specifically says that he's Emperor's Children to me, and that just really is a shame. Last but not least this week, we need to talk about Warhammer Plus because it's turning 2 soon. In fact, it's going to be the second year of Warhammer Plus beginning August 25th. And they've announced what the new miniatures are going to be, and frankly, I love both of them. Let's go ahead and talk about what you can get if you are an annual subscriber to Warhammer Plus. First up, we have Askar the Annihilator, which is a World Eater's Terminator, and he looks stunning. And when I first saw the silhouettes, I genuinely thought this was going to be the model I was going to want to more than the Age of Sigmar one, because that's I get that, and we might probably end up getting both still. However,
the cover of the first Chaos Marine Codex I ever saw.
Oh, that is so cool, and I did not know that. However, we need to talk about the other model because that Age of Sigmar lady is awesome, and it's not specifically because of her, it's because of who she comes with. You get 4 familiars if you buy the Age of Sigmar model Chaos Sorceress, whose name is something that I can't pronounce. I can pronounce the Darkfang, but her first name, I have no idea how to pronounce it. I love these familiars so much. They're perfect. I'm pretty sure that these are models that have been redone from some original Warhammer Fantasy figures, because I definitely remember there were familiar models in Warhammer Fantasy. I don't know if they're identical. I don't care because each one of them is delightful. We've got our tall boy in his red cap carrying some scrolls who just looks lovely. We have my absolute favorite Mini Guts carrying the Dragon Slayer. He's perfect. I want him. I need 16 of him. I need that number specifically because it's so good. I just need so many of them. We have some additional familiars though. We have who has been deemed on Twitter, or at least I am calling him Stu because I saw somebody else call him that, and it's perfect because he is literally a stew with legs. And then of course we have a deep one who's blowing a horn. So if you want your old ones in there, you even got that too. Frankly, I'm really excited for both of these models that are coming exclusively if you are a Warhammer Plus annual subscriber. Now, Games Workshop has learned their lesson from last year, and they're doing something a little bit different when it comes to these models this year. You're not having to wait the full year if you're a subscriber. You just have to wait 1 month. And then they'll ship you your model, which I think is a really, really solid turn of events, because waiting a full year for a single mini that's supposed to be free and is the main reason everybody's there is kind of lame. So I'm really glad to see this change. Hopefully, it means that more changes, more positive changes will be coming to Warhammer Plus in the future. I know that they have slowly been adding more and more content to it. If you've not already subscribed and you've been thinking about it, at this point, it might be worth it just because there is a variety of content already on the platform ready for you to watch. But if you were getting this at the very beginning, it may not have been worth it because there really wasn't a lot at the beginning. Hopefully, that continues to improve. All right, that has been it for this week in hobby news. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more so you don't miss any future content. Before I head out, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for making it so content like this can continue to happen. Without your guys' support, we wouldn't be doing this, so thank you very, very much. And I really look forward to continuing to chat with you on Discord. I have been Angela, and I hope you have a wonderful hobby night.